Hi, Doug Backinger from Caster Concepts. I'm here today to answer the top 10 most common questions we get asked when people are trying to spec an industrial caster. So the first question that we get asked a lot, why can't I find my part number? I have this part number from Caster Concepts and I can't find it on your website. So on our website, you're going to find standard part numbers. So these are considered catalog items. And if you have a part number that starts with an SP or an SPD, this means that it's a custom product designed for a specific customer. So if you have that number, you're not going to find it on the website, but you can contact us and we can help you then with the questions that you have. Another common misconception is I look at the wheel and there's a number on the wheel. That number on the wheel is not the final part number. That is the wheel casting number. And if you give us that with a few other details, we can usually tell you what product that you have. Number two, so how do I choose a caster? So the first thing I tell people to do is take your total load, divide it by 3. You might say, why 3 if I have 4 casters? Well, 3 points make a plane, and I don't care how perfect your floors are, how perfect your fabrication is. There's usually variation in the manufacturing process in your floor, and 3 casters will end up carrying that load. So that's why we tell people, just to be safe, divide by 3. The second thing to do is look at how you're going to use this. Is it just being manually pushed around? Are you towing? Both of these things have different characteristics of what you'd want to choose. Third, you want to take into account any environmental concerns. So temperature, is it outside? Is it going into an oven? Do I have access to grease the caster? So these are all things that you want to consider when specifying something for your application. The next question we get asked a lot is, can I get a specific bolt hole pattern, mounting pattern, a specific overall height? Can I shorten up the swivel radius so that it fits underneath my cart? And the answer to that is all yes. So we can customize pretty much any product that we make and do it easily and quickly. The next question we get is, are your casters designed to ICWM standards? So this is usually a question we get from the aerospace industry. So they're looking for specific safety factors, and our casters are designed and tested to ICWM, which is International Caster and Wheel Manufacturing Association. So just to give for reference, all of our casters are designed with a 4-time safety factor on static loads, and if you need a different safety factor, we can run the finite element analysis, we can run the stress analysis to figure out how we need to change the design to get you the safety factor that you need. The next most common question we get is, my casters are breaking or my casters are failing and can you help me? And in the majority of cases, the answer is yes. Obviously, this depends on your design constraints and what you're trying to do. If you're trying to push a cart off the back of a semi and the casters keep breaking off, we can probably help you out, but there are some applications that are pretty tough. The next question we get asked is, how long will my casters last? And this is actually a very difficult question to answer because it really depends. It depends on the type of caster being used, the application, how it's being used, how well it's maintained. We've had casters out in the field for 50 plus years that still work just as good as the day they left the factory because the application wasn't abusive and they maintain the casters very well. We have other applications where the wheel will wear down in 6 months and they'll have to replace the wheel because it's a very aggressive application. There's a lot of turning involved. Typically it's like forklift applications, things like that. So for the most part, if your application isn't too abusive and you maintain the product well, you should expect years of life out of your casters. If you know you have an abusive application, certainly we can work with you to get the longest life possible out of your caster. A very popular question that we've been asked really within the last 10 years is, how do you make my cart easier to move? And this certainly we can help you with. And usually it involves kind of similar things with improving the swivel section, improving the urethane and the wheel design. So if you have a cart that's hard to move or it's not passing your internal safety standards, contact us. We can talk about the application and then we can figure out what's the right products to try. So we've done a lot of internal testing. We have our own database of results that we can share with you to help show you kind of what direction you should be going to really make your cart easier to move. The next question we get asked is, what does a caster cost? This varies widely depending on your application, your load capacity, what you're trying to do. Where we've tried to simplify this for you is if you go to our website, you pull up a specific SKU, you can actually see ranges of costs, and what determines these ranges, or what shifts the cost of a caster, are usually like the different add-ons, different options, swivel locks, brakes, toe guards, different types of urethanes. So those really are the factors that kind of determine that range of cost. Now, for very customized applications, you could get into things like customized wheel cores, custom swivel sections. These are things that can dramatically change the cost of a caster, and really you need to consult with the factory engineers to determine what you need and if it really fits your budget. How long does it take to get my caster once I order it? So our average lead time is around 2 weeks, and this can change depending on complexity of the caster, the amount of purchase goods involved, but in general, our lead time is 2 weeks or less, and we've built our manufacturing systems to allow us to handle a high variation in type of product as well as quantity. So we're very vertically integrated, so we basically control the entire process from the cutting of steel to the pouring of urethane, and that's what allows us to be able to customize your product and still deliver in a pretty short lead time. And the last most common question we get asked is, what safety factor is in the design of your caster? And for this, we designed to ICWM standards. So for static, it's 4-to-1 safety factor. For dynamic, it's 2-to-1. And if you require something different, contact us. You can work with our engineering team and we can get you what you need in terms of safety factor. So those are the top 10 questions we get asked around industrial casters. So hopefully you found this video helpful. And if there's other questions that you have, please check out our Learning Center or feel free to reach out to us.